Well, didn't think it would be so soon, but we're back here again. Recently, a new indie development team released a trailer for their debut title, Monster Fantasy. And yeah, it looks a bit odd to say the least. Now, I'm not here to hate, but I'm not here to hold the game's hand either, and to tell you you should maybe be hyped for it. This video is going to be split into a couple sections. Of course, the intro, a quick disclaimer, being honest and bringing the bullshit to light, and simultaneously going over developer responses to my concerns. If you don't care for a particular part, feel free to skip around, but I will be severely disappointed if I see comments calling me out for things I am about to address in the disclaimer. And speaking of which, I'm not being negative for the sake of being negative or trying to weaponize a community against a developer with this video. I'm here to do one thing, bring the truth and fact of the matter surrounding the game and dev team to public eyes so you can better make an opinion on and engage in helpful discourse surrounding this topic. This is not something I am creating to trend chase or get clout or make money. Hell, I'm not even monetized, and with my current viewership, I'm nowhere near to that point. I do this because I can't stand dishonesty and grift in today's internet. Charlatans, liars, and exploiters deserve and need to be rightfully called out, and the world shown what their true or likely intentions are. You deserve the truth through good and thorough analysis, and I am here to not just show it to you in the moment, but I encourage you to arm yourself with the mindset and skills that you don't need someone else to do it for you. To put it simply, be media literate. Don't have someone else read for you so you don't fall victim to perpetuators of misinformation who read a script of lies and deceit or end up supporting and funding frauds. If you think I'm lying in this disclaimer, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion and no one's stopping you, but this is genuinely who I am, and you just saying, no you're not, to prove a stupid point is no more valid than me saying, yes I am. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the meat of this. After seeing the trailer and combing through the official material surrounding Monster Fantasy, I would end up writing the script, but while revising it I realized it would be much better to try and get answers to my questions before uploading, so I joined their public Discord and asked a question of my own while sending a DM to the developer answering questions. Due to time zones, it took a while to get an answer, but practically all my questions were mostly answered, and so this will be a modified script where I will first include what I said about a certain subject, and then include the developer response. So you can see what I was thinking in the moment, and someone not going the extra mile to contact the devs, and then what I learned later on. Now I'm going to start off with one of the points that many of you are probably thinking. Is this game using AI? Yes, but maybe not quite in the way you're thinking. There is an AI content disclosure on the Steam page and additional information surrounding its application in the Kickstarter. Paraphrasing a bit, the AI use that is disclosed here is basically saying that NPCs in the game will have functionalities akin to AI chatbots, receiving prompts from you, either directly or perhaps through a dialogue option system, and respond dynamically, likely taking into account past interaction and other game data. Now depending on your AI stance, this is anywhere from a who cares to, yeah, this game blows major ass. Now my issue with this disclaimer isn't from itself, but a possible implication. When someone is already willing to cut corners in one way, they're much more likely to do so in other avenues. Now those haven't been disclosed, but something about particularly this screenshot of the supposed character creator and shots of this particular character from the trailer has me raising an eyebrow about possible use of generative AI. I mean, looking at the character creator screen, apparently F is both confirm and back, and the escape key is looking off, which you could try to stay as stylistic text, but no other text I can find where this game's marketing shows an S looking this way. And as part of another point I'm going to get to, a team willing to plagiarize or get dangerously close to doing so definitely doesn't care as much for creativity and originality, something avid defenders and users of generative AI also neglect. So while we can't confirm without a shadow of a doubt that the game uses generative AI, we know as a baseline that it does use it for a certain system, and that provides an implication of potential use elsewhere and or the ideology of the developers. Now the dev response here is solid to say the least. As for the NPCs as chatbots, this is a completely optional mechanic that might not even make it to full release. In addition, every NPC has a complete set of standard dialogue. With how this looks to me, at least with its current vision, it seems to be another option when conversing with NPCs called free talk or build relationship, but otherwise any essential dialogue, such as talking to a blacksmith to make shit and whatnot, will not pull on AI to generate dialogue. They also answered a question within their Discord, confirming that they may use AI tools for placeholders that will gradually be replaced and eventually no longer present in full release. Now onto the whole argument of plagiarism. Let me make clear that a monster hunting game is not just a Monster Hunter copycat. In fact, competition in a genre is mutually beneficial, something that is lacking in Monster Hunter's case. A very prime recent example is Blizzard's generational lock-in when Marvel Rivals upset Overwatch's long uncontested top spot in its niche. If you want Monster Hunter to be better, you want competition, and for that competition to keep Capcom on their toes and not get remotely complacent. In fact, there's a lot this game does differently, going more into fantasy for monster and weapons, going more into mythological creatures and magic, village building and potential management, relationship building with NPCs, other life sim features, monster taming, and a different approach to classes. But remember, this is the development team who seems okay with using AI in their work, so their idea of originality may seem skewed. I mean, for fuck's sake, the game is called Monster Something. It states the loop as hunt monsters, get materials, get rewarded. Now that may be too broad, not substantial, which honestly is fair. So let's take a look at the gameplay shown by IGN. This is literally Charge Blade's 3-piece, and the longsword type weapon seems to work in the same way where you have attacks that build up a meter and having a 4-stage gauge from none to white to yellow to red, and then having a way to deplete said gauge for big damage. There are loads of other examples such as monster animations and skeletons. Some of these are fairly valid and some could be reasonably dismissed with there are only so many ways to make a monster with that stance do a certain action. The developer response wasn't concrete, but gives me a shred of hope. They state that actually playing the game will likely yield a different experience, but notably that they fully respect originality and intellectual property, and that if anything causes concern for players or Capcom, that it's something they will take seriously and tweak as the game develops. As for another point being the music, they said they worked directly with musicians who also had work on the Monster Hunter original soundtrack, and combining that with the similar in-game's visions, I could see how potentially giving a certain direction and instructions to composers could lead to a theme that sounds very reminiscent of Proof of a Hero Happen. I still think it could have been redone after hearing it, as I feel it's too close, but that could have potentially been a financial hit they weren't willing to take at the time. Now, let's get on with why I'm actually saying all of this. The reason I find this particularly shady isn't the use of AI or likely plagiarism, but the Kickstarter. Immediately advertising a Kickstarter with the game's new announcement is atypical for the most part and spotty. And there have been probably thousands of Kickstarter scandals by this point where backers get effectively nothing for the money they put in and aren't able to get reparations from a legal system. Now, the developer's response here was pretty much that they can finish development regardless, and that the Kickstarter is primarily for building a connection with players while benefiting those who want to help out financially. And to sum up the end of their response, it was pretty much just, thanks for reaching out, and we'll keep doing game dev things like polishing, listening to the community, and improving the game throughout development. So, putting everything together. Monster Fantasy seems to be a game looking to be the Power World to Monster Hunter, uses AI to a degree, with high certainty plagiarized other creative works, and is now off the hook asking for your money. As of right now, I wouldn't put money into this thing even ironically, not until the devs can really stay true and prove they weren't bluffing in their response. Or you get your hands on the game through a public test and genuinely have a lot of fun. Now, the developers haven't fully decided on whether or not they want a fully open or application-based testing period, but they do not want it to be just limited to backers, which is a step in the right direction to avoid echo chamber bias. Maybe I'll eat my words one day. Maybe this is actually a great game. The similarities are coincidence and genuine inspiration, and maybe some shots just look like AI but aren't in actuality. Or maybe all these things will be resolved as time goes on. I'd love to be wrong on my statement to fund this game. Again, competition is good, and Monster Hunter would benefit from it. For the time being, I'm going to trust my own eyes, and the signals they're sending to my brain are telling me to stay away. But do please form your own opinion from what you've seen here and in other places. And if any developers are watching this, actions mean infinitely more than words. So show, not just me, but us, that what you say is legit, and that you care about community feedback, and that you can right the wrongs of before. Remember what I said in the disclaimer, and that'll be about it for now. This video got stuck in delay hell because of time zones between dev response and them also going on a weekend before I could answer my second set of questions, but I think waiting here was the better call. Now, it seems, at least judging from the last video of this style's performance, that you guys appreciate this kind of content. And to be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed looking to and exposing these kinds of things. So I suppose if you ever need me to bring bullshit to light in a video like this, you know where to find me.